Welcome to another edition of What Barrie's Talking About from Barrie 360. I'm Dan Blakely. On this week's program, how a dating-like app might help you become a homeowner. A bankruptcy study has found more insolvency is starting to hit more higher-income Canadians. Have you been lost for words when someone close to you dies? Do you worry you might say the wrong thing? Hospice Simcoe wants to help, and the Barrie Colts' quest for a playoff spot continues. We get the conversation started after this. So everybody's still tripping over themselves trying to figure out this affordable housing crisis and how to get people into houses. And Derek Battaglia, Barrie Mortgage Broker and founder of Yellowbrick.ca, which combines mortgages and real estate, has come up with a House Hitched idea, he calls it. He joins us now, and this is like a dating app almost.
It is. It's very similar, Dan. Thanks for having me on your program. So I would often get clients coming into my office taking applications, and they're great clients, good credit, out of school recently or just getting new jobs or salaries of around $100,000. And they're disappointed because they don't qualify to buy anything with $100,000. 5 years ago, lined up, not a problem, no stress test. And, prices were quite a bit lower. But, we've seen this housing affordability crisis leak its way in, no supply and lots of buyers, stress test. I'm turning away people that don't have access to co-signers like family or any of those normal channels where they can get help to buy, because a co-signer can help someone in that situation. And, came up with this idea of pairing these people who are great applicants together. And it's not unusual to see that happening quietly behind the scenes. Even my nephew, for example, he bought a home last year with two of his buddies, all combining their income. Mm-hmm. And they were roommates before coming out of university, so they're familiar with each other in that case. That was just kind of the impetus to how I started to think, well, how do we get these people matched up? How do we get them together? And we know they like it because they were roommates. People room together in college, university. Mm-hmm. They know how expensive rent is. And they're taking just one room and spending $1,000, then they don't mind sharing a house. And it's just the way, our expectations in Canada are changing, have had to change. There has to be a new bar, a new level. So it's a format where you can find rental buddies or housing purchasing friends. And you put in your profile, and you can even say, you like pets, you have allergies.
Right, yeah.
Just like a dating site. And, where you want to buy, what city. You enter in a basic application, and we pair you up. So we're starting here in Barrie. We want to start small, get as many applicants here to see what kind of a response we can get. And if it works well, we'll expand into other cities.
Excuse me, you use the example of college buddies doing it. So like you said, they obviously know each other and know they can live with each other. Now you're trying to hitch other people up, but some of the pitfalls are going to be maybe down the road. So you look good on paper, but once you get in there, then what happens if things go off the rails? Well,
it's like any partnership. There'll be some legal documents that are part standard inside of all of this that they'll sign that says if things do go wrong, that there's a sales scenario that happens, or one can buy out the other. So it's all legally documented. I'm not worried about that. It's just so long as the disclosure's up front, they know what they're getting themselves into. What's the worst case scenario? You've met a new friend who's just like you, who's got the same interests. And that's the bottom line. It's very similar to a dating site. If you want to match up with a male or a female, if two males, three males, it doesn't matter. We've got investor profiles as well. So if you don't make it with the banks as far as qualifying, we have potential other lenders, alternative lenders lined up. And, so we're really excited about it. Referral partners are joining in, realtors, bankers, accountants, lawyers, appraisers. They're all part of the program. So
I was going to ask, what kind of reaction did you get from all of those people when you went out with this idea?
Well, it's brand new. So, I'm getting this, what is going on here? Like, is this for real?
What are you thinking?
Let me scratch my head.
Yeah.
This is a dating site for buying, House Hitched. They get it. And the video on the website really explains it well. It's exciting. Everyone that's seen it they just are so excited about it. I've got some interest from other large dating sites that want to get involved and help me get off the ground because they have international potential reach.
Right.
So there's some integral merging that in with the mortgage side.
Well, this is the thing. It's thinking outside of the box. And sometimes when you have these kinds of situations like we have in the housing market, you have to think outside of the box. You have to think radically. And this is radical. This is different. Nobody's ever done this.
It's very different. I have a friend who has a database of 2,000 builders, and he's blasted this out to them. And the reaction has been very, very positive because you've got these builders out there who are sitting with these new projects, and the buyers can't qualify. A lot of them can't qualify. So if they register to come onto this site, then they can register their projects, and we can get the buyers into their projects as well. So it's getting a lot of different tributaries are opening up for this.
Yeah. Is there a fee to join, or you just get on the website and go to it?
There's no fee. It's the referral partners that will pay for the referrals they get. And there's an app in development stage right now in the beta stage. So the landing page for househitched.com gets us registered to get ready for the app. But in the meantime, I can communicate directly with the people that come in. That's why I want to keep it fairly Barrie oriented right now. If it goes beyond that, fine. But that way I can interact with the people that are joining in Barrie in particular, surrounding area.
You may have to get into the wedding business too, because you may be bringing people together and they find they really like each other.
Well, I'd like that. Maybe not the wedding business. I'll refer that off to someone.
Bottom line is you're trying to help out in a really dire situation at the moment, and it doesn't look like it's going to flip around anytime soon. So whatever we can do to help people achieve those kinds of dreams is great.
Dan, it's not flipping around. There's no question. The supply issues and the immigration, the population growth, it's not going to change. There's just not enough supply to bring the house prices down. So if someone's waiting to get into the market, I have to say right now, if you look at the charts, this is the time to buy. We're at in this market with the uncertainty and the higher rates, I should say. They're not rates relative to how they've been over years.
Yeah.
They're coming down. I expect rates to drop 0.75 of a point in the next 12 months. That's what the word I'm getting from the people I'm speaking to out there. I was just at a conference, and the previous Bank of Canada governor was there, had a chance to talk with him. The TD Bank chief economist had a chance to talk with him. So it's looking like rates are coming down. So the variable rate mortgage is maybe a popular option if you're renewing. It's something you want to talk to me about. But that's my expertise. And this is adding to it. It's getting those frustrated people out there that are great applicants. They just don't have enough to get in the market. Well, this is going to help them.
Website and phone number, if you've got one you can hand out for this?
Yeah, househitched.com. And at the moment, you can call 705-797-8811. That's my office line. And then, of course, Derrick, DARICK.ca is my main mortgage pay. I'm super stoked and excited to see if I can just help one. I'd love to see one couple come together from this. It would just be magic for me.
All right. When they come together, let us know. We'll talk some more.
That'd be great. Thanks, Dan.
Derrick, thanks so much for coming in.
Take care.
Finding a partner to share that mortgage and household expenses has become more of a necessity, even for higher income Canadians. Hoy's Michaelis Joe Debtor survey released last week found more and more in that high income group becoming insolvent, filing for bankruptcy, or requiring a consumer proposal to get their heads back above water. Personal insolvencies in Ontario were up 26% last year from the year before, and the outlook isn't good. Barrie 360's MJ hears more about the study and how you can keep things in check from Mark Borziak, a licensed insolvency trustee with Hoy's Michaelis and Barrie.
Are you guys surprised by these numbers and how high they are?
I guess not really. I mean, every year we do the study based on our clients for the year, and we come out with the analytics or the information. And so, I mean, I guess this year what was interesting is the trend more higher income debtors and then real estate debtors over the prior years. But with what's going on in the economy, I guess it makes sense.
Going back to some of the trends that you guys have been seeing, what are your predictions for 2024?
I think, unfortunately, more people are going to be having to file for insolvency, whether it be a bankruptcy or consumer proposal. With the interest rates as high as they are right now, it seems that more and more people are at that breaking point. From the numbers we had, there was a shift in terms of the demographics. So individuals that are older, I guess older is a poor term, but it's a higher age individual with a higher income now that's filing compared to prior years. So that trend continues. Unfortunately, more people are probably going to have to file. If you look at what the interest rates are, what shelter costs are for mortgages and rent, and what energy prices are for vehicles and gas and everything, unfortunately, a lot of households don't have a lot of leftover money at the end of the day.
And I know you can't see into the future, but what would have to happen for people to for this to level off a little bit, give people a bit of a break?
Hopefully, if interest rates go down, that'll help. If you have a variable mortgage, obviously, with the lower interest rate, your payments are going to go down. Cost of living, unfortunately, I don't know if that's ever going to go down, though, or if wages increase. But unfortunately, at this point, we're stuck in a high cost of living, high interest scenario, so it's tight.
No matter how bad things seem, and I can understand when people are under the incredible amount of weight of debt, it can seem like you just can't come up for air. And you say the word things like bankruptcy, and they have such a red flag, a bad connotation. It's not the end of the world if this is something that they have to look at.
It's a tool. So the options we help individuals out with is usually bankruptcy or consumer proposal, and they're both options to help with your debt. Sometimes bankruptcy is the best option. It gets rid of your debt. It usually lowers your payments. It gets you debt-free and on your path to a fresh start. So does a consumer proposal, but they're both options to help you move forward.
What's the difference between, say, filing for bankruptcy and a consumer proposal?
Well, the consumer proposal, we're just bargaining with your creditors to cut a deal to pay back a portion of your debt, whereas with the bankruptcy, you're generally surrendering some of your assets, and there's a required payment based on your income. If you don't have assets and your income's low, maybe a bankruptcy is a good option for you. Whereas if you have some assets and there's equity, like a house, and you're a higher income earner, then a consumer proposal is probably a better option for you.
What do you say to people that are really hesitant to possibly do this? How much would it help them, even just having a breather or a sense of relief?
Well, yeah, our consultations are free. So giving us a call, there's no cost when we go over your options. So yeah, it's never a bad idea to call to ask for help. Best case, maybe there's another option for you. It could be a budgeting aspect. If you have a house and there's equity, you can try and refinance, or there might be better options there. But if a consumer proposal or bankruptcy is the better option, maybe we would assist you through that process.
What Barrie's Talking About is a weekly podcast featuring the best Barrie and Simcoe County have to offer and more. You can get caught up and make it easy to keep up by subscribing to What Barrie's Talking About through any podcast distributor. Still to come on What Barrie's Talking About, what to say, what not to say when somebody you know dies, and a look back at how the Barrie Colts fared last week and how it impacted their playoff hopes. Now this.
It's cool to care.
It's a well-known fact blood transfusion saves lives. It's also a well-known fact that the world relies on voluntary unpaid donations to fill the need for blood. The need for blood never ends. Canadian Blood Services in Barrie is calling on you to help save a life. Please consider donating today. Appointments are mandatory and must be booked in advance. Book today at blood.ca through the Give Blood app or by calling 1-888-2-DONATE.
Cool to Care is brought to you by the Peggy Hill team, keeping it real all the way to sold. Reach out now at peggyhill.com.
It's cool to care with 107.5 Cool FM.
This is What Barrie's Talking About from Barrie 360. I'm Dan Blakely. A close friend dies, perhaps a colleague, a member of your family. What do you say? How do you reach out? We often fumble for the words, worry that we've said the wrong thing. Hospice Simcoe holding a workshop to help with that. Barrie 360's Ian McLennan gets the details and some advice from Tennille Campbell, Community Support Program Manager with Hospice Simcoe.
Hospice Simcoe will be hosting a forum, for lack of a better word, in March that's called Dying Matters. What's behind that title?
Yeah, so Dying Matters is a series that's designed to initiate conversations about dying, death, and bereavement. We started this about 4 years ago when we had constant people coming in to talk to us about struggling with the conversation. So this specific event is titled What to Say When You Don't Know What to Say, and it explores how to acknowledge and support those in our lives who are grieving. So this can be anybody. This can be family, friends, neighbors, colleagues, anybody who's experienced a loss.
And what when they come to this forum, what are the topics? I mean, is it about because nobody uses the word dying? It seems now it's passed away, they've gone away, or I don't mean to be disrespectful, but why is dying a scary word?
Yeah, we've experienced that for years and years and years. People are afraid to say the word dying, almost like it's going to happen if they use that language. And we're here to say it's not. We're all going to experience this. We're all going to die ourselves, and we're going to experience the death of a loved one. We have people come to us all the time saying things like, I don't know what to say, or how do I help? Or I'm afraid to say the wrong thing. I'm afraid to use that language. Or we have clients coming in saying, I wish my loved one didn't say that to me. Or people don't know how to acknowledge me in my grief. This event is to help point individuals in the right direction. It's really giving you ideas of what to say or not say to help people who have experienced the death.
Is there a wrong in a right and wrong column, things not to say, or?
100% there is. And we hear this often in our support groups. We can write a book of things that you shouldn't say to somebody. For instance, sometimes people like to hear, they're in a better place. And sometimes people don't want to hear that because the better place is here with you. We often also hear people say, let me know what you need. But there's never a follow-up from that. So really telling somebody what you want. Do you want that casserole in your freezer? Do you want that phone call every day to touch base? Do you want that check-in? Just being very specific with what our needs are.
And is there a big gap or difference when we're talking about a death of an adult or compared to a child? I don't know if anything would be more challenging, but when you're dealing with somebody who's had that death in the family.
Yeah, so we provide support to anyone that's died, including children, and we do offer children bereavement support as well as adult child loss support groups. We do find that although they might go through the similar waves of grief and bereavement, those that have experienced the death of a child tend to be a little bit more stuck for a period of time. So hospice is there to support them every step of the way.
How do you know what to say? I mean, is it based maybe on maybe you have a better understanding of who this person is, or they may be a family member as opposed to a friend? How do you get through to know what to say? What are the proper words?
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that you have to fill that silence with words. And sometimes just being present and listening and acknowledging and saying the loved one's name goes a long way as well. I think we follow the lead of the person we're talking to, and we just are open to that conversation to begin with.
And is that the same for the person who's had the death in the family? Do they ever reach out to their support system afterwards, or what they're looking for?
Yeah, they can. But again, sometimes I feel people don't know what to say in those moments. So again, this presentation from our Dying Matters series can help with that as well. How do I even start that conversation? How do I tell people what my needs are? We can give little tips and tricks on that.
It's a challenge. I mean, we've all experienced either we've been on the side of the fence where we've, cared for somebody and they have died, or what will people take away from this, do you think?
I'm hoping that they take away practical skills, but also I hope that we encourage them to at least initiate the conversation. We encourage them to knock on their neighbor's door and check on them. We'll encourage them to use the words death and dying and bereavement and seeking support when they feel as though they need it. We're just hoping to initiate that conversation. That's our overall goal.
I don't know if you've done like a history on it. Why have we moved away from the word dying? When did that start? Do you know? Or where we've George Carlin, I brought him up in our conversation before we turned on the microphone here, where he goes, nobody dies anymore. They pass away. What's wrong with that? Or is there anything wrong with that?
Yeah, so I think back in the day, we did a lot better work with dying. We used the sense of community and we supported one another. We've just lost that. We've become very isolated, especially when you throw COVID into the mix. We've been very much isolated in our own homes. And I think that we just struggle to make connections like we used to. We struggle to have those conversations like we used to have. And all in all, we're afraid to say the wrong thing to make somebody upset. And sometimes that word dying and death make people uncomfortable. And that's what us as humans don't want. So I think there's a natural struggle to even use that language.
So if people looking for that kind of support or learning more of this seminar, when is it taking place, the times, and where?
Yeah, so join us on March 19th from 6 to 8 at the Traditions Banquet Hall, which is 142 John Street. There is no cost to this event, but we do ask that you register first. And you can do that by calling the Hospice Simcoe Community Support Building at 705-725-1140.
The Barrie Colts earned a split of their 2 games last weekend. Goalie Ben West was chosen OHL Netminder of the Week. The skate to the playoffs continues. Here's our Will Conkin and Colts writer Gene Pereira.
I think to start, we have to congratulate head coach Marty Williamson. After the last 2, he's now coached over 1,000 games, 7th coach in OHL history to do it.
It was nice to see, even in Friday in Mississauga, which was his official 1,000th game, they paid a tribute to him, and then Saturday they had the pregame ceremony, a little bit of a pregame ceremony, a celebration for him, and Marty, obviously, with his 2 stints in Barrie, he's been very successful, and really one of the coaches just love to deal with. And he's had a lot of success over the years, even with that Niagara team, and here in Barrie, taking him to a championship. And it was funny when I first met Marty. He had come over from the Aurora Tigers, and then owner Mark Stubbs, who had bought the team, brought him over from Aurora. And the first time I met them, he's doing an interview, and I know Mark Stubbs was talking. Basically, they were more of a defensive team, and just saying that they'd rather lose 7-6 and play exciting hockey than win 2-1. And I just remember looking at Marty's face when he said that, and after a few seconds, Marty just kind of, no, we're going to take the 2-1 win. It's just, you could see it with the players. I think they're really happy for the coach. And, look, I mean, you look at the player, other coaches and the names, Bert Templeton and Brian Kilray and George Burnett and Stan Butler and Dale Hunter. And, there's some big names there that are part of that group of 7 that have played, that have coached 1,000 games. So it's really nice to see Marty get his just recognition.
It's big time for sure. So switching back to the games, what were you seeing from the team, positives, negatives from these last 2? They had a tough penalty at the end of that Steelheads game. Yeah,
that was a bit of a tough break there. I mean, Friday, they're playing much better on the road, and there was a game there where Ronik Chauvin had scored to tie it at 4 late, and it looked like they were surely going to get a point there. And with about 3 minutes left, Jack Browdy, after the whistle had gone, and you see a lot of this in front of the net, a lot of pushing and shoving, and usually the officials kind of let it go, but this time Browdy had cross-checked the player, and he got called for it, and that led to a Mississauga power play, and what turned out to be the game winner. So a bit of a tough break for the young defenseman, and but talking to the coaching staff, they said it's a bit of a learning experience for him, and it wasn't a great penalty to take late in the game, and they hadn't played too bad in that game. Obviously Mississauga was really pumped up, having lost 2 previous games at home to Barrie, so they were looking, but again, Barrie had put themselves in a place that they looked like they were certainly going to get a point, and maybe 2. And then back Saturday at home against Kingston, obviously a bit of a big game if they want to catch Kingston in that 7th spot. Kingston was 6 points ahead of Barrie coming in, so it's a bit of a 4-point swing. You go from 4 if you win to 8, the other way if you lose, and Barrie played really well at home, which they've done all season, and they get a big win. Kingston gets a couple of late goals, of course, to make it close, but the Colts come out with a big win and gives them a shot still to kind of track down Kingston here as we head into these final 20 games of the regular season.
Seems like another positive is Bo Jelsma moved sides. He's really excelling in that new spot.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting watching Bo Jelsma. Has really been playing center all year, and Marty kind of, a few games back changed the lines, and Zach Weigel has been really offensively has really stepped forward, and Marty put Bo on the left side with Weigel and Durbridge, and that line, they had some success. But talking to Marty Williamson and Chris Barsky, the associate coach, Chris told me, I asked him about the idea behind that, and getting that, and they talked about just the speed that Jelsma brings on that left side, and you see a lot. Bo's really been taking the puck to the net. He's been able to get around defensemen and kind of cut in front, and it's led to several goals. And I think they're kind of taking advantage of that, and he's really responded, Bo, here. He's starting to put up the offensive numbers, and he's just had a lot of success on that left side with that line.
On the schedule for the Colts, the Saginaw Spirit tonight, Ottawa 67s for Saturday, and then as well a Monday afternoon game against the Kingston Frontenacs again. That's a couple of tough ones for the Colts. Yeah,
that Thursday obviously got the Memorial Cup hosts, and Barrie can take some confidence into that. I mean, they had a late lead in Saginaw last week on the road there against a really good hockey club, and a couple of tough penalties they took late, and Saginaw was able to kind of end up pulling that one out in overtime. But the thing here is that you get them on home ice here, and that'll be a really good test again for this young club. And then Saturday, you get an Ottawa team that have kind of struggled a bit there, but it looks like they're starting to turn things around again, and they made some big moves at the deadline. And then, of course, Monday in Kingston, again, those head-to-head games with the team you're trying to catch are so big. And so, again, another, starts with a tough test at home, but if Barrie can, find a way to get a win on Thursday night, and kind of carry that momentum going into the weekend.
Always appreciate the insight there, Gene.
Thanks, Will.
And that's our program for this week. Thanks to Ian, MJ, and Will for their input, to Matt Ladder for his technical touch, and to you for listening. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe to What Barrie's Talking About, rate it, review it. You can also keep up with What Barrie's Talking About on X at Barrie360, on our website, Barrie360.com, and there's our daily Kickstart podcast available from any streaming service and on our website. I'm Dan Blakely. Hope you'll join us again next week.